Well, we finally have everything here to put the car back together. We got our nice Cometic multi-layer stainless steel head gaskets, and we got the heads back from the machine shop. What do you know, huh? They told me 2 days. It's been exactly 2 weeks. So that was some pretty good translation, huh? The machine shop talk. So they checked out okay, A-okay, no leaks, no cracks, no errors. They cleaned that up, you know, resurfaced it slightly, made sure she's square and good to go. And now you can really see that, the 48 on the, I'm going to give her a little, you know, engine rebuild in the can, because they had them in the parts cleaner there and took off a little bit of the paint. But I'm going to clean those up and spray a little brake clean on them, and everything is so small compared to what I'm used to dealing with. Tiny little ports. But yeah, heads are back. We're going back together here. It's kind of funny because same thing on big block Chevy. It says right here, this is Cometic's instructions here. It says put them together dry. Dry installation is recommended. Dry installation is recommended. And then I've always used copper coat on them. I mean, that's just the way I was taught by a really good engine builder. And here we have Butler Performance. Their instructions say spray gaskets with copper coat, 2 light coats, 5 minutes dry time between each coat. So, you know, we got the same package with double instructions there. But I'm just going to go with the way I always do it on a big block Chevy. I'm going to spray these down with some copper coat and let them dry a little bit, and then slap her together. I noticed I had my head cut off on the last video clip of part 1, and I'm sure you guys don't care about that, right? You don't need to see my ugly face on these videos. The cars are the stars, right? The cars are the stars of these videos. My camera work is atrocious. If you watched any of my YouTube stuff, you know I'm not a cameraman, you guys. Sorry about that, but it's kind of fun, even with crappy camera work, right? Just give these things a little cylinder head rebuild in a can here. Get them looking the right color again. I don't know what the darker blue stuff is. That later model Pontiac paint. Like I say, I don't really know anything about Pontiacs, but we'll do this while they're off the car anyway and go through the motions. But anyway, I'm not going to pretend to be a Pontiac expert, but these number 48 heads, I know they're correct for a 69 Firebird. Someone told me they're the same thing as number 16 heads, really close. So there's some little difference. I don't know if it's the combustion chamber or what it is. But these are called D port heads because these exhaust ports in the middle look like D's. And as far as D port head goes, if you're going to ask a Pontiac guy, you know, what's the best OEM head to run in a D port? And well, most Pontiac guys would tell you a number 16 head is kind of the go-to OEM head. Kind of like when you ask the Mopar guys, you know, what's the best big block Mopar head? You know, I think it's like a 906 or something like that. 996. I don't know, 906 I think it is. But anyway, yeah, these are kind of the go-to OEM performance head. Everybody takes these off, you know, and puts on a Edelbrock or a Kaufman head or something like that. But like I say, this car is going to race pure stock, and it's going to be bone stock. You know, the weird part about these heads, Pontiac heads only have 10 bolts holding them on. I'm so glad that these heads weren't damaged, or they did not leak. They tested out okay. They're not cracked, because they are kind of rare, kind of expensive, and I'm just so glad that they weren't wrecked. But it does make me nervous. I guess it was just the gaskets causing a pretty major problem, you know. You'd think it would have been more obvious than that, but yeah, you know, you got 10 bolts holding them on. You know, in comparison, Big Block Chevrolet has 16 bolts holding on their heads, and even a small block Chevy has 16, 17 maybe even bolts holding on the head. So I don't think I'd recommend a Pontiac for like a boosted application or nitrous or anything with just 10 bolts holding them on. But it must have been those cheap gaskets. That's what we're hoping on now. You know, it only cost me a little over $200 to have these pressure tested and the surface cleaned up on them a little bit, and that's peace of mind, you know what I mean? Because now I can put this together and I know I'm not putting on a junk set of heads, and I can go through all that work and feel good about it. So more to come. We'll brake clean and clean all these mating surfaces up. Like I said, this just got trued up, so we know this is square. We have no idea if the deck's square, but it is what it is, man. Like I say, it seems we're kind of short on bolts here, but that's just a Pontiac for you. Put a little of this Teflon. This is usually what I use here. It's just Permatex Teflon thread sealant on here because everything is stock. A stock block. Bolts go through the water jackets, and we'll put a bunch of thread sealant on the threads and some ARP moly lube up here on the washers and the heads, and seal them all up good. Go like 40, 80, 100, start in the middle, work your way out. Same old, same old. Trying to decide whether to show how I set valve lash. I mean, there's already 9 million videos on YouTube how to set valve lash. You guys write in the comments. I don't think Pontiacs, were there any Pontiacs that came with solid lifters? I don't believe there were, you know, maybe the Super Duties. I'm not sure. Like I say, I am learning Pontiac lingo here. But most Pontiacs came with hydraulic rockers. All of them did, I do believe. And then what they had was like a shoulder on their rocker studs. And, you know, all your specs were preset. All your push rod length and everything from the factory, and you just tighten those rocker arms down and torque them to like 20 or something like that. That's how they were from the factory. But these are ARP studs. He's got adjustable rockers on here. You know, anytime you put in a longer valve, or, you know, a hydraulic lifter has about 30 thousandths fudge room. So anytime you shave your heads more than 30 thousandths, or change your valve length, you know, to put in a bigger cam, or anytime you change any of those dimensions, you can no longer use the factory style positive stop type of rocker arm anymore. You need a adjustable rocker arm. And then to adjust those, you just crank them down until you feel a little pressure, you know, a 0 lash on the push rod, and then you give them a half a turn. And you make sure you're on the base circle though. Well, how do you make sure you're on the base circle, you say? Well, I usually do it as soon as the exhaust valve starts to open. As soon as I see this one start to move, I'll set the intake. And then once the intake's all set, as soon as the intake's all the way open and just starts to close, then I'll set the exhaust. And like I say, you just get it down there until it's snug and give it a half a turn. Bing, bang, boom. You know, that's a hydraulic lifter type of setup. Okay, heads are on, all torqued down. And, oh, that's gonna cost them extra. Oh yeah, that's gonna cost them extra. Those damn exhaust gaskets are like razor blades. These old Pontiacs, they like to spin bearings back in the day. And a big problem with them was they had a piss poor oiling system. So the way that they solve that nowadays with high performance Pontiac engines, they put a restricted lifter in them, and if you don't want to change your lifters, they even make a push rod with a smaller hole in it, restrictive push rods, and then that kind of keeps more oil down in the crankshaft and less oil up in your heads, because they had a problem with that, spinning bearings. The 455s and stuff had a real problem because their main bearings were huge, so they had a lot of bearing speed down there, and they'd get real hot. The 455s too, you know, with that great big main bearing tunnel. The blocks on these Pontiacs, they don't have a lot of webbing in the valley and stuff, and with that great big old main bearing tunnel, they would have a lot of problems. Sometimes the blocks would crack right in half sometimes on them. But Pontiac engines are cool. You just gotta, there's some tricks to them. You gotta shore them up a little. They make a girdle that goes in the valley if you're building a real wicked Pontiac engine. It kind of shores up all the lifter bores and stuff and keeps your block more rigid. Got most of that milky oil out of there. Before I put the valley pan on, I'm just going to feed her a little diesel oil here. Give her all the vitamins and dinosaurs she needs. And then we'll get her up to temp. And we'll dump this oil and put some more good diesel oil in her. Don't mind my voice. I'm battling a little bout of the COVID for the last 3 weeks or so. You know, that's kind of the bad thing about self-employment is we don't have much of a medical plan around here, and I for sure have zero retirement plan. I mean, I'm gonna have to work until lunch on the day of my funeral, I do believe. But yeah, never mind that. We're working through it, you know. It's the show must go on. So yeah, some new dinosaurs in her. Here's the bottom of the pan of the oil I drained out of it. Oh my goodness, huh? Run that through your frickin' rod bearings for a few minutes, huh? Oh, ugliness all around here. She is not pretty. That's the oil that came out of it. Man, I hope it lives. We're almost ready for the moment of truth. You know, the moment of truth. Just gonna get some coolant in it. And do we dare do the cardboard test again? I think we should. What do you guys think? You know, spin over the engine with the cardboard by the spark plugs trick. Seemed like a bad idea last time, but it did prove what our problem was. And now, hopefully, it'll prove that we have solved the problem. I mean, it's looking good. I'll bring you in on here and give you a little look at what's going on. Yeah, heads are on, exhaust is on, intake's on, accessories are on, hoses are hooked up. I mean, we're pretty much ready. I'm going to throw some cardboard in front of those cylinders again, and we'll get her full of coolant and see if we did any good here. Here we go again. We have the coolant system is full of coolant. She's holding fast this time. At 15 pounds, no problemo. And got the cardboard in place. Both sides. Spark plugs out. We're just gonna wing this thing over a little bit. Even though I got a little post-traumatic stress syndrome from the last time we did this experiment. I'm just gonna wing it over and we'll have a look. Well, no explosion of coolant. That's a good sign. I would say that test went a lot better than last time. Yeah. Bone dry. We're still holding fast. 15 pounds. Let's check this side. Bone dry. Oh yeah. Now we can throw the plugs back in, wires on, fire this mother up. Alright, ready for the second moment of truth here. She's ready to fire up. We'll get some fire in the hole here. Throw the timing light on her a little. I don't know what should we start her out at. I'm guessing it's going to be between 32 and 36 probably. I don't know, that's the interesting part. I didn't see any signs of detonation in the cylinders. Matter of fact, it was kind of quite the opposite. But we'll dial it in here. He said it did the best with 36 on the dyno, but he said it was also pinging a lot out on the street, so we got to get that figured out. Time to fire her up. hit. Good. Quick. Like you've got it set at about 15 initial, about 35 full. Now we'll figure out how many RPMs does it come in at. Looks more like you had it at about 40 all in on the timing, so that explains why it was pinging. Comes in right around 2,500, just like it should. Must have some pretty light springs in the mechanical end of it. I haven't tried it with the vacuum hooked up yet. That might even be pulling it past 40, because he's got it hooked to port side. She's smoking worse than Cheech and Chong. I'm not worried about that. I think his muffler and his exhaust is full from when the head gaskets were bad. I don't think we've got a problem though, because the coolant level is staying perfect. So we just got to burn all that old coolant out of the exhaust system, and it'll take a little while for that. I'll drive around the neighborhood and kill some mosquitoes or something, huh? Okay, well, we're waiting for all that coolant to burn out of the exhaust. We're gonna have a little fun. Now, I knew there was a reason why I knew this car was a HO. Besides the 4-barrel carburetor, the long branch exhaust manifolds, number 48 heads, heavy duty cam. There's something about this car, can't remember what it was, told me it was an HO. Oh, hang on, buddy. Now the thing is, the owner of this car says it's got an 8-track player in it, factory installed. No, not factory, dealer installed 8-track in it. He's never used it before, because he's never had an 8-track tape to play in it. And I was thinking to myself, self, you got an 8-track tape somewhere? Sure as heck. Dug through my storage. Looks like we're going to be rocking out to a little Van Halen today. Let's give her a try, see if it works. There's the unit. Turn her on. Oh, yeah. Pop in the old 8-track just like the old days. Uh-oh. Nope. No goage, dude. That's weird. It's got an 8-track tape player, but the bezel is obviously not for an 8-track. Darn. We wanted to rock out to some Van Halen. Well, we're gonna have to do that another day. He's got some gauges down here where the old shut that spark box off. Where the old ashtray was, he's got some gauges. Dearborn 3-speed. Man, we better take this thing for a rip, huh? It's just too tempting. Well, it's about a wrap for this thing. Retorqued all the head bolts. Even though Cometic said we didn't have to, I thought in this weird situation it'd be a good idea. Just throw the air cleaner back on it. Throw the old roof to the power barn back on. And I think we about got it. Just drove it for about 20 minutes. She rips pretty good. Well, car's finished. And it runs great. Must have just been those head gaskets. Here's the way I'd like to finish this video. I can't, due to health reasons, I can't really finish this video the way I really wanted to finish it. Here's the way I envision finishing this video. You guys, you know, picture this in your brain. Two old buddies, late 50s, early 60-year-old buddies, in their old school muscle car, just smoking both rear tires right off from it on some old county road. Big old smiles on their faces. The Van Halen 8-track playing at the same time, running her through the gears. That's how I really wanted to finish this video up, but we got some technical difficulties. And it is what it is. The car is finished, and it's kind of a fun little project. And I appreciate you watching. Thanks for tuning in.